This is the Jerry Doyle Show.
Well, if you look at our history of releasing detainees to other friendly nations like Qatar, Morocco, Saudi Arabia, the history that we have here should be a cautionary tale for anybody who thinks anything different about what they did, are doing, and will do when they get released. There were 3 hardened Moroccan militants from Guantanamo Bay. We turned them over to the Moroccan government on the assumption they wouldn't return to the battlefield. They wound up leading one of the most violent Islamist groups fighting where? In Syria. January 2014, this from the Director of National Intelligence. 29% of 614 detainees released from Guantanamo Bay had returned to violence. The group that they were returned to, where the Moroccans said, don't worry, we're going to keep an eye on them, Harakat Sham al-Islam, was heading up what was then the first significant massacre of religious minorities in August of 2013 in what Human Rights Watch called crimes against humanity. Ibrahim bin Shakram, Ahmed Mazzouz, Muhammad Alama. According to the people that they interviewed, that the time that those cats spent in Guantanamo Bay was a badge of honor. Islamist extremists said they admired them as symbols of a time when Al-Qaeda was at its strongest in the struggle to restore the power in Syria. By the way, one of them is still fighting with Harakat Sham. In the months after the 2001 invasion of Afghanistan, all 3 of these guys detained by Pakistani army when they fled Afghanistan across the border. They ended up in Guantanamo Bay. They were labeled enemy combatants. They were considered high risk and likely to pose a threat to the U.S. That from who? Pentagon assessments. One review in 2003 described the mentality as believing that in God's eyes, every mujahideen, religious warrior, is at the highest level just below the prophets and the disciples. Now, when were they repatriated back to Morocco? When George Bush's administration freed them in 2004. So this isn't just Obama. It's George Bush as well. This isn't Republican or Democrat. This is politics at its worst on both sides of the aisle. Now, why would we release them to Morocco? Because supposedly they were a steadfast ally on the global war against terrorism. But detainees who return to the battlefield from Morocco, we don't have to worry because they say, well, we're going to legally re-engage with them, meaning that they will be targeted for capture or kill operations. That makes sense, doesn't it? We already had them. We sent them to Morocco. Morocco swears to keep an eye on them. We're pretty sure they're not going to return to the fight. But when they do, we're going to do it all over again to go find them, to kill them, or to capture them, and then put them back in Guantanamo Bay so that the next fool on the hill, President of the United States, can release them for some political reasons. This is where we're at, folks. This is where we're at. And nobody's doing squat about it.